Hello everyone, my name is Kitten of Doom and I am super excited to partner with Play Versus to help arm coaches with the knowledge and tools they need to grow Smite as a high school sport. Play Versus is the only place that can make gamers into varsity athletes. I really wish Play Versus was around when I was in high school because being able to represent your school and be in esports while in high school is a really amazing opportunity. So I'm excited to help them support the next generation of esports superstars. And a little bit about me. I have been playing Smite for 4 years, and in between that time I have been making guides on YouTube and streaming Smite on Twitch. In the last 2 years I have been extremely lucky and got elected on the Olympian Council. Smite Olympians basically meet with the Smite developers every month and we talk about community concerns and feedback, and the devs also ask us about certain things they are wanting to put into the game. So I have been helping the community for the last 2 years as Olympian, and it has been a really amazing experience. Now that you know a little bit about me, let's talk about Smite. Smite is a 5v5 free-to-play MOBA with gods from ancient mythology. A MOBA is defined as a multiplayer online battle arena, and is a subgenre of strategy video games in which each player controls a single character as part of a team of 5 competing against another team of 5 players. And each player has a different role that I will go over later. The ultimate objective is to destroy the opposing team's Titan. To do this, you need to destroy the towers and phoenixes on the enemy side of the map in order to infiltrate the enemy base to destroy the Titan. The Titan has a lot of health, so it is important to work with your team in order to defeat it. At the time of this video, there is 109 gods and goddesses to choose from depending on your team composition. Each god has its own characteristics and abilities that can change up every single game you play. Every god in Smite has 4 abilities or skills that define how they attack on the battleground. Over the course of a game, each of these abilities can be upgraded while you level up, which makes them more powerful. Upgrading means your abilities increase its grade or rank. Leveling up means your god gains a higher level by gaining more skills, health points, and strength. With each level you gain during a match, up to level 20, you will gain a skill point. Once you have a skill point, you can choose what ability you would like to upgrade. At level 5, you can unlock a god's ultimate ability. Ultimate abilities are a god's most powerful attack and are usually placed on a long cooldown. Abilities that are on cooldown cannot be used until their timer counts all the way down, at which point they can be cast again. Mana is a resource needed to cast abilities. It is represented by the blue bar below the health bar. As you level up, your mana increases. Mana regenerates over time and can be increased by mana items. In order to level up, you need to kill minions, jungle camps, and enemy gods. Minions are soldiers that automatically spawn into the map about every 30 seconds and run down each lane. Each side of the map has 4 jungle camps in between 3 lanes that are depicted with a color that gives increased stats or a buff when a god walks over it. These buffs only last about 2 minutes. The yellow or speed buff increases movement speed by 5%, and you also gain more movement speed after jungle monsters you kill. The blue or mana buff gives you 15 MP5, which means you gain mana every 5 seconds, and 10% cooldown reduction, and hitting an enemy god with an ability restores some of your missing mana. The red or damage buff increases your god's damage by 10% and 15% while hitting an enemy god. It also gives your god more power. The purple or void buff reduces enemy gods' protections or defense and also provides 10% attack speed. You can only buy items in your team's fountain, where you spawn in at the beginning of the game. All items provide enhancements to your god by providing different stats like power, defense, and health. It is important to become familiar with these items to determine what works best for certain classes. Every single ability is different and unique to every god. Some abilities have healing effects, while others do massive damage to enemies. Abilities are used to attack enemy gods. In order to kill enemy gods, you need to use abilities and basic attacks to do damage. A basic attack is your god's default attack that requires no skill points or cooldown. Once an enemy god's health reaches 0, they die and wait to respawn or re-enter back into the match. In order to win, it is important that you understand the abilities and features of not only the god you've chosen, but the gods the enemy team has chosen as well. Practice is key, and it will take some time to learn what each individual god does, but you will get the hang of it in no time. There are 5 different classes in Smite, which are Hunter, Mage, Assassin, Warrior, and Guardian. There are 5 roles in Conquest: Support, usually played by Guardians, Jungle, played by Assassins, Mid, played by Mages, Solo, played by Warriors, and Carry, which is usually played by Hunters. Usually the support and carry start in the duo or long lane, which is on the Gold Fury side of the map. The towers are the furthest apart from each other. The mid, of course, starts in the mid lane, and the player in the solo role will start in the short or solo lane, which is on the fire giant side of the map. The towers are closest together on this side. Lastly, the jungler will start at their speed or yellow buff in the jungle and continue to fight jungle camps and monsters for experience. Now let's talk some strategies. Early game, you want to farm and focus on leveling up. Safely clear minion waves and your buff camps. Farming is the act of killing minions or monsters to gather golden experience. Farming is an essential component of early game laning. The laning phase is a period of the game where players, except for junglers, typically remain in their respective lanes to farm minions to acquire gold or trade with their opponents to get kills. Getting early kills can further your gold lead and experience, and opportunities might arise to possibly steal from enemies' experience by killing their jungle camps. Usually early game is between levels 1 through 9. Mid-game, it is important to begin to group up with your team more to start focusing objectives, like towers, Gold Fury, and the Pyromancer. Your main focus in this stage is to win team fights and get picks on the enemy team. This is usually between the levels 10 through 17. Getting a pick means you kill one or a couple members from the enemy team so that you have opportunities to start killing objectives. The Gold Fury is one of the strongest neutral monsters in Conquest. All neutral monsters can be attacked by either team. This monster has protections and strong attacks. Defeating it grants your entire team golden experience. The Pyromancer is another strong neutral monster in Conquest. Defeating it grants each member of the team a fountain buff for 90 seconds. The buff provides 40% movement speed for 15 seconds. Late game, it is important to group up as a team, get kills, and win fights in order to take big objectives, like the Fire Giant, Phoenixes, and eventually the enemy's Titan. Or if team fights are not going in your favor, to defend against enemy sieges by winning team fights and then pushing to their Titan. Late game is usually between the levels 18 to 20. Warding is also essential for all roles so the team has vision on the map to counter enemy attacks. Warding is the process of placing down a ward that provides vision to a certain area. Warding is key to preventing you from being surprised by an attack and keeping objectives warded so that the other team doesn't kill them before your team does. The most important areas to ward are generally the Fire Giant and Gold Fury pits and any high traffic jungle areas that branch off from the lanes. Now let's talk about role responsibilities. The supports make plays by enabling their allies through buffs and heals or disrupting enemy lines through crowd control. From laning to late game teamfights, supports provide advantages and opportunities for their teammates to capitalize on. They are also your team's main source of peel, which helps teammates get out of danger. Junglers in Smite specialize in killing or disabling roaming targets by picking them off towards the end of teamfights or killing them by ganks. Junglers are focused on infiltration, deception, and mobility. They are opportunistic and find favorable moments within a fight before jumping in. They often determine the pace of the game and can easily make your team ahead by assisting in getting kills by surprising the enemy from the jungle. Mid laners have high damaging abilities, long range, and AoE that can deal damage to multiple enemies at once. Mages deal massive damage in teamfights but are generally easy to kill. The focus of the mid laner is to stay alive in teamfights while dealing major damage to enemies on objectives like the Gold Fury, Fire Giant, and the enemy Titan. Solo laners are the brawlers of the team. These gods have a good balance between HP, defense, and damage. Their balanced stats allow for these heroes to get in and get out of fights alive. They are the second tank for the team and usually engage team fights. The carry, or ADCs, are gods that deal strong, continuous damage with their basic attacks and scale with attack-related stats, like attack damage, critical strike chance, and attack speed. They will be the team's late-game powerhouse that will deal the most damage to objectives. Similar to the mid lane, carries need to watch their positioning since they have the lowest health and are generally also easy to kill. The best thing to do for practice is to play the game. You can start by learning against AI, and when comfortable, move to going against real players. Practice takes time. There are a lot of gods in Smite that each do different things. Read about each god and their abilities to get yourself familiar with them. Smite has a jungle practice mode where you can load in to practice any god you want. One of the best tools I used to learn about Smite was watch YouTube videos and streams on Twitch. You will be able to learn a lot by just watching videos of commentary gameplay. Another great source is to watch the Smite Pro League to see how professional players are building and playing their gods. Once your team is assembled, it is important for them to play against other competitive teams, which is called scrimming. You can actually find and schedule scrims with other teams across the country through the Play Versus platform. As for some additional coaching tips, familiarize yourself with the meta, which is how the game is played by most people at the current time. It is an abbreviation of metagame, which literally means the game around the game, and refers to things that happen outside of matches. You will find what is meta by watching pro player games and strategies. Some months players will start out at different points of the map, build different items, and play different compositions. Coaches should learn how to counterpick another team's composition. Some gods are stronger or weaker against others. Helping your team in the picks and bans phase of competitive Smite can really help set up your team for success. Communicate effectively with your team. Some team members will need to be told what they are doing wrong so they can fix their gameplay. Coaches should watch their team's scrims through VODs, which are recorded video gameplay, to identify mistakes in gameplay. Maybe your team had a really bad fight, and after losing that fight, the enemy team was able to win the game. Coaches should point out mistakes and brainstorm with the team on how to improve and not make the same mistake twice in the future. Try to keep your team happy, focused, and motivated. Help your team with itemization and what items they could have bought to be more effective. I hope that these basic tips will help out the next generation of players and coaches looking into Smite esports. And I really want to thank Play Versus for the opportunity to work with them. If you haven't checked them out, please do if you are interested in becoming a player or coach for your high school. And you can find me on Twitter and YouTube at Kitten of Doom, and thank you so much for watching.